Hey guys, I'm Deepak Chaudhury and welcome back to my channel. This is a place where we study human behavior and its impact on personal success, hyper-performance, leadership, influence, employee engagement, innovation and entrepreneurship. Today I'm here to share with you my thoughts on an unknown devil. And at the end of today's video, I have a huge announcement coming up, so stay tuned for that. Have you seen elephants, full-grown big elephants, attached to a tiny chain at one of their legs, and the other end of the chain is attached to a post on the ground? Now, we all know by applying common sense that the elephant is huge enough, strong enough, powerful enough to break the chain or take the post out of the ground and be free. The question is, why doesn't it do it? Let me explain. All these elephants are captured as cubs, tiny cubs who are not powerful, who are not strong, and they're tied to the same chain with the same post on the ground. And not for days or weeks, but for months and years, these elephant cubs try to break themselves free by breaking the chain or taking the post off the ground. But that never happens. So at a certain point of time in their head, they accept that doesn't matter how hard I try, I can't change this. And once they have accepted that inside their head, after that it doesn't matter how big you grow, how strong you become, how powerful you become, you can't change it. That's why this full-grown, full-sized, strong elephants are still tied to those tiny chains and they don't try to break free. This particular aspect is called learned helplessness. In 1967, American psychologist Martin P. Seligman conducted a few experiments with a group of German shepherds. There are multiple accounts of the experiment that I have studied, so I'm going to share with you my version or the simplest version of the experiment so that you can understand the core learnings from the experiment. We have a group of Germans, so multiple groups of German shepherds, group 1, group 2. Both the groups are restrained with harnesses so that they can't move from their places, okay? And they both are standing on metal plates through which current can be passed. Okay, so experiment begins and the research assistants, they start passing little amount of current through both the metal plates. Group 1, the dogs, they have a lever in front of them, and if they wish to touch it with their paw, they can stop the current from hurting them. Group 2 of dogs, they don't have any such option. Experiment continues. At a certain point, group 1 dogs understand or explore and find out that they can use the levers to stop the current from hurting them, and they start doing that. Round 1 of experiments done. Round 2 happens, same set of dogs, group 1, group 2, but this time there are no harnesses, dogs can move. And now they're put inside a box with 2 sections with a divider in between. Section 1, we have the same metal plate, same current. Section 2, there is no metal plate, there is no current. The dogs, if they choose, they can jump over the barrier, go to the second side, okay? Experiment round 2 begins. Now group 1 of dogs, which have experienced in round 1 that if I choose, if I want, I can find out a way to stop this current from hurting me. They, after a couple of attempts, they understood, they jumped over the barrier and went to the other side, saved themselves from the electric current. Group 2 of dogs here, they didn't do any such things. Because from their experience in round 1, sometime during the experiment, they have accepted here, doesn't matter how hard I try, I can't change this. So they don't even try, even though there are multiple options open in front of them. From this experiment, Martin Seligman coined the phrase learned helplessness. Now my question to you is, what such harnesses, what such chains, psychological barriers you have in your life which is holding you back, which is stopping you from moving forward, which is stopping you from achieving your goals and your dreams? What kind of baggage you are holding on your shoulders from your past experiences, exposures and encounters, and which are slowing you down and you don't even know about it. That's why I mentioned at the beginning of the video that today we are discussing an unknown devil, because we all are aware of the phrase that a known devil is better than an unknown angel. The point is, when you know that there is a devil, when you know that there is a problem, you will start looking for solutions. You will find a solution and you will resolve the problem and you will overcome it, right? But when you don't know that you have a problem, when you don't know that you are a victim of learned helplessness, how would you fight it? Right? That's why I call this an unknown devil. Let me now help you understand how learned helplessness has victimized all of us, and we have accepted a lot of things around us as a society, as a country, as a human beings. We have accepted all these learned helplessnesses into our life, and we have made them or accepted them as part of life, as a way of life, which we should not. Okay, let me give you a couple of examples. Example number one, let's look at it as a country. Let's say as a country, India, you are an Indian, and let's assume you have a father who is a teacher who just retired. Now you are going to the office, pension office, to follow through on his pension processing. So week one, you go and meet the clerk and you're like, sir, my father's name is so and so, and I'm here for his pension processing. And the clerk looks at you and like, I have the file, but there are so many other files pending. So we'll process, when the time comes, we'll process. So you come next week, okay? And you come back. Then you went there week 2, week 3, week 10, week 12, week 15, I don't know. You just kept going, but you meet the same clerk at the same table and the file has not moved an inch. After 20th or 30th attempt, when you're coming back angrily, a peon of the office takes you aside and in Hindi he says you, sir, agar chai pani ka kharcha nahi denge, file to aage badhegi hi nahi. That means if you don't pay bribe, your father's file is not going to move. What do you do? What do I do? We pay the money, get the job done. Because we have accepted as a country that this bribe, this corruption, whatever it is, it's part of life. And we have accepted in here. Doesn't matter how hard I try, I can't change this. This is a classic example in my mind of learned helplessness. Now let's take this concept of learned helplessness to our education institutions, schools or colleges. In India, we don't have something called bullying, we have something called ragging, a form of physical, emotional and psychological torture of the fresh students who are coming on board to the school or the college, and it is done by the senior students. Now imagine yourself standing in a queue of 30, 40, 50 students and together going through this torture. You're looking at your friends, nobody is complaining. This side also you look at, nobody's complaining. What do you say to yourself? Doesn't matter how hard I try, I can't change this, I can't fight this. And you go through this. Doesn't matter how bad or abusive this becomes. You choose, at certain point, a lot of students choose to commit suicide rather than go complain and inform authorities and their parents. They commit suicide, right? This is another example of how unknowingly we have accepted so many things, as so many bad things, so many corrupt things as a way of life, as a part of life. We don't fight for it. Let's take learned helplessness to our society. As a society, I have a daughter named Goody. She's 3 years old, but before she was even 1 year, we are having this conversation, me and my mom. Mom is on phone, she's explaining me, have you started saving money for Goody's marriage? I'm like, she is just a year and I have saved up money for her education, but not for marriage. Why are you worried? And she's like, no. She's a girl child, so you have to start saving money for her marriage. This is coming from her understanding of something called the dowry system in India. When you are a father of a girl, you are supposed to pay dowry in her marriage. In Hindi, people have accepted this like this. Ladki ka baap hoon, to dahej to dena hi padega. If I'm father to a girl, I have to pay dowry. We have accepted this not only as a way of life, as a part of life. We call this thing, tradition. We call this culture. This is how sick we have become in accepting things in our life that are slowing us down, that is holding us from performing at our best, that is, stopping us from achieving our goals and our dreams. So these are 3 examples. I hope you understand the context and you understand that what are the different areas in our lives where we have accepted learned helplessness and we don't even fight. In personal life also, you can imagine, you tried a couple of diets, you tried yoga, Zumba, dance, exercise, still you are not able to go below a particular weight. What do you accept in here? Doesn't matter how hard I try, I can't change this. The moment you accept that, after that, doesn't matter how many options come, doesn't matter how big you grow, how strong your willpower becomes, it doesn't matter at all, because you won't try. Now I'm going to share with you a few steps, a few tactics that I have utilized or practiced to get rid of learned helplessnesses in my personal life, in my professional life, in my social life, and I'm expecting that you will learn this and you will start taking advantage of these steps. Okay, so here we go. The process that I have practiced to get rid of learned helplessness in my life has 3 steps. Step 1 starts with A, stands for awareness. That means you take a piece of paper and start listing down what aspects of your life, personal, professional, physical, financial, social, all kinds, all dimensions of your life, and you write down the learned helplessnesses you have accepted in each of these aspects. As I said, if you're not aware that you have a problem, you can't even solve it. You will accept that as a part of life, as a way of life, as your speed and your best version, but that is not true. You can be moving much faster, you can be performing much better, you can be a much better version of yourself, right? So first thing is awareness. I have done this practice. Take a piece of paper, and this is a regular thing. This is not a one-time thing. You have to evaluate yourself for helplessnesses that you have accepted in your life on a regular interval. Okay, so that is step 1. Step 2 in this process stands for B, which stands for believe. You have to start believing inside yourself that I can make a difference. Understand this, the flow of learned helplessness is from out to in. That means you have an environment, you experience something, you are exposed to something, you encountered something, and that thing became a belief inside you. So from out to in. The solution is to move from inside to out. That means in here, you start by believing that I can make a difference. Now let me help you understand the power of belief that one man can have in himself and the power of one man. One great example of believing in yourself is Roger Bannister. Till Roger tried it, nobody has ever ran a mile under 4 minutes. There was no technological training, no physiological training available to help you do that, because if it's available, everybody would have done it. But he started believing in himself that I can do it, I can change it. And he did that. He ran a mile under 4 minutes. But once he has done it, within 2 years of time, more than 38 people have done it, because it was easy for people to believe that this is possible. Because Roger has done it, we can also do it, right? So belief has a lot of power. A second classic example of power of belief would be Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. For 200 years, we as a country believed that we can't fight the East India Company, we can't find the English people, and this is the way of life. We accepted it, except from a handful of people, out of which one name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, or Mahatma Gandhi. He started believing in himself that this is something I can change, I can make a difference, and his weapon of choice was non-violence. And we know the rest is history. And the last example of believing in yourself is Raja Ram Mohan Roy. For years, for decades, I don't know, for centuries maybe, we accepted this as a part of life, as a way of life, that when your husband dies, the wife is burnt alive with the husband's body. We call it Sati Pratha. We call it a tradition, a culture, till Raja Ram Mohan Roy said, I can make change. I can make a change, I can change this. And now we credit him for getting us out of such a pathetic ritual as a society called Sati Pratha, right? So there are thousands of examples around us that once you start believing in yourself, you will understand your unlimited potential. Once you understand your potential, you will start taking massive amounts of action, and massive amounts of action will produce massive amounts of result. Okay. Step 3 in the process is execute, which is represented by E. And execute has a couple of sub-steps. Sub-step number 1, start studying people who had the same learned helplessnesses that you have today and how they got freed of it. Study online, study offline, go meet these people, study their case studies, and then create a plan that will suit you, that will help you to get rid of your helplessnesses. Second sub-step in this step number 3 is surround yourself with such people or join a community of people who are trying to get rid of the same kind of learned helplessnesses from their life. When you are part of a community, the journey becomes much easier as compared to when you are trying to get rid of this on your own. Okay, so those are the steps. Step number 1, awareness. List all the areas, list all the helplessnesses that you have in your life. Step 2, believe in yourself. And step 3 is execute. Study people who have done it in the past and surround yourself with people who are doing it now. You will be able to get rid of the learned helplessnesses in your life. I hope this was helpful. I hope I was able to add value to you today. I hope you learned a ton from this, and I'm hoping that you will start taking massive amounts of action to free yourself from this learned helplessnesses in your life. These psychological invisible chains and harnesses and weights that are slowing you down, that are holding you back, that are stopping you from moving forward, that are stopping you from achieving your goals and your dreams. And that would be my contribution to your success. Okay, I hope you loved it. I hope you enjoyed it. Now it's time for you to share this piece of content with your community, with your network and people around you, so that everyone can benefit from this content. And to learn more about human behavior and its impact on personal success, hyper performance, leadership, influence, employee engagement, innovation and entrepreneurship, do subscribe to this channel now. And the big announcement is now registration is open for my flagship event DYD, Design Your Destiny, happening on the 18th of May at Radisson Blu, Bangalore, Marathalli. So go to the website or go to the link below here and claim your seats today. Okay, thank you for joining me in this video today. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the future videos. Till then, take care and be limitless.